Hello and welcome to One Called Mama. I am your host, Sam, and I am so glad you decided to join us today because this is going to be a really fun episode. I have a feeling we're just going to have a lot of fun. I have two wonderful women with me, Cheryl and Allison. Thank you, ladies, for being here. How are you?
So good, so excited.
Yes. Very excited. Cheryl and Allison are how should I refer to you guys? Co-leaders, of Called and Launched.
Yes.
What are your
Yes.
unique positions for Called and Launched?
Yeah. So I'm the creative director and Cheryl is the founder.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Mm.
before we jump into what y'all do, I would love for y'all to share just a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah. Allison,
Cheryl,
you
you want
want
to
to go?
go first?
Oh, perfect. Yes, I
Yeah.
will. I'll go. Yeah, so I am first and foremost a child of God, a believer, and I'm a wife to my husband, John, and we have three kiddos. Ages, I have to think about it. It's really sad. Ages about to be 7, 12, and 15. So I have three kids, three different schools, three different sports. So I am a really busy mom. That actually kind of have, I mean, I would almost say three jobs, but I don't really call it a pastor's wife a job, but in a way it is. I'm a teacher. I own this business and then called and launched, and then also just come alongside in ministry with my husband. So I feel like between those things, that kind of is a lot of who I am and what I do, but I love to travel. Love to read. So those are kind of my hobbies whenever I'm not doing something with the other things.
Right. Love it. What about you, Allison?
Yeah. So my name is Allison. I'm the creative director at Called and Launched. I'm going to just copy everything Cheryl did because it was so good. Yeah. So I am also, first and foremost, a daughter of God. My husband's name is Will, and he's the youth pastor at our church at Rush Creek, Midlothian. Shout out. Um, And my little boy Asher is 4 years old, and so yeah, I also juggle a couple of hats, and all of them remote. So I work for Belay and am a virtual assistant. So do that from home, and then also called and launched. And Asher is at home with me right now too. So just learning to juggle all the things while like working, full time from home and all of that. And then also the student ministry stuff as well. And then another kind of part of me is we're starting a mental health ministry. And so that is another kind of thing that is really like on my heart and I'm excited about. And so that's another one of those hats that trying to juggle and steward well. And I'm just by the grace of God making it and trying to do my best. So
Yeah. Oh wow, I love that. I feel like we could just take you each individually and have you on the show just to share like how you're doing, like what that path looks like for each of you, and maybe we will because that would be fun because I love the heart that y'all both have for the Lord. When I was reading what you sent me, the thing that stood out to me the most was just how much you love the Lord and how much you want to serve him. And by serving him, you serve his people and his the communities that are being built and the businesses and the ministries and all of the things. And so called and launched. This
mhm.
is so much more than just and I'm probably not going to give it the right term, but a marketing and advertising company. This is so much more than that. Uh, y'all's main focus is to help people. I think what I read on the website was that someone is called to step in something, but you help them launch that business, and therefore we have the name. So, talk to me. Tell me how Called and Launched was born.
Yeah, well, I'll kind of get started. So originally, and you actually will see both on the website. You may see Cheryl and Co. on the website. So I started a business a couple years back just doing meta ads. So Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Honestly, it started out as just a really great side hustle because I have three kids and three things. And I was like, I need to like support my family in this way. And so I really fell in love with it, and it was a lot of fun. And honestly, what I loved most about it was serving the people. Like I realized, okay, like I'm good at the ads, like I'm good at making graphics and, putting together a campaign. But what I really loved is like when these business owners would come and just be like, "Oh, I'm so thankful. Like we had no idea how to do this. Now we're getting whatever it was they were, offering out to more people." And so that's just kind of how it started and continued for a couple of years. And honestly, I loved it. Or I do love it. I still do love it. But um, then one day, Allison, it was this past year in March, just texted me kind of out of the middle of nowhere. Again, we know each other from church. Our husbands they serve together. My husband's a pastor, her student pastor. And so I'll kind of let her share even a little bit more about that part. But through that conversation, we just went to coffee. And it was just crazy. Like God just started orchestrating so many things together. And, one of the things I really struggled with was like in our conversation, like, do I want to bring somebody into like what I have built or made? And my main concern with that was how busy I am. Like, I'm a very busy mom. Like, I don't like, I'm kind of working whenever I have time. A lot of that's really late at night or in the morning, or if, just kind of whenever I can find the time. And so I was like, what is that going to look like? But God has been so, so good to just like, I can't even believe how he has orchestrated everything. And called and launched actually came together by like it was just honestly both of our hearts were totally aligned in what we wanted to do, and that was to serve people exactly what you said. It was to help business owners with their calling, like a calling that God had placed on their life, a God-given calling. And like we want to take off the things on their plate that they're like, this isn't what God has called me to. He's not called me to websites and social media and advertising, but we know that's a part of it. So like our goal is just to be able to serve them well so that they can serve other people well. And that's the really condensed version. There's so much more to that I'm sure we'll get into here in a little bit, but I'll kind of let Allison like jump in on like her take and perspective on just how it came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, all of that and like personally like in my heart during that time I had just lost a client with belay. And like with belay, like it's, any type of client work, like you have to be prepared for really anything because they almost sometimes the clients see it as like a subscription and so they can stop at any point. And anyway, so the week before that I was reading Proverbs 31, and the Lord was just really, really just doing a work in my heart. And I've read Proverbs 31 so many times, and this time was different. It was like this time I was like, you know what? Like, I am, talking about all of these like financial struggles that our family's in right now. We have a house that has been on the market for over a year, and just like things breaking all over the house. And like, we're kind of in this spot where we're like, what are we going to do? And lo God loves it when we're in those spots because he gets to split a seat for us. And I've watched him do it over and over again. And this was one of those. And so anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm reading Proverbs 31, and I just start to ask God, like, what is the thing that you've made me good at that I can take and use to bless my family, but also to glorify you and bless others with? And so it was instant. I was like, art. Art is the thing that I've always loved so much, the thing that like he has naturally like gifted me in, and it's kind of been put away like to bed for years. Just because of like just a couple of years of kind of survival mode. And this was really the first, this is since being married to my husband, we've been married a little over a year. Um, since being married to my husband, like it's the first time that we've ever, not Asher and I have ever not been in survival mode. Like the Lord has finally given us like a safe place. And so anyway, so I just started praying about that. I was like, Lord, like, I pray that you would give me an opportunity to use art as a way to bless my family, as like my field that I'm investing in, but also, as a way to bless others and ultimately point to Jesus. And so, yeah, so I actually saw like all of these meta ad management things popping up on my Instagram. And I'm like, I'm going to bed every night and I'm watching these reels. And I'm like, Will, I really think that I could do this. Like, I really think this might be the thing. And so, anyway, it was like this great combination of like social media, but also like the creative side, and it just sounded so great. And so I go to coffee the next morning with a friend. It's one of our mutual friends, and I just start talking to her about it, and she's like, "You know that Cheryl does that, right?" And I was like, "There's no way." And so anyway, I text Cheryl and I'm like, "Hey, I'm interested in ad management. I wondered if you might be willing to sit down." And we sit down and we start talking about this. And immediately, like I'm sitting there having this conversation with Cheryl, and I'm like, she does not have to tell me all these things. She does not have to invest in me right now, like the way that she's doing. And so I'm like, wow, like she is a literal blessing from God. And so I'm like sitting here praising the Lord for Cheryl. And just a couple months later, it turns from where we're at now, it turns from just an idea, just a coffee date to now we have built, called and launched. And I say we've built, called and launched. The Lord has built, called and launched. And it's not just meta ads anymore. It's expanded to so much more. Like now we're offering websites and have like website clients just flooding through the door that could not possibly be from us. A lot of them like ministry type things, like just the Lord is just like funneling them in. Logo design clients. Um, what else? Full branding package, like anything and everything, marketing and design. Like it's like the Lord is just like steadily building our portfolio and all of the different avenues of this business. And we're just watching him do it in your business, like whatever it is that the Lord's called you to. If it's a business, like if it's a ministry, like it could be anything and everything. Just being able to like step back and say, I'm going to steward what you've given me really, really well. And I'm going to try my absolute hardest, but knowing that I am a human and you are God. Like if you want to use me in this place, then you're going to do it. And I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to be faithful. And then sometimes it's just going to take a lot of grace because sometimes I'm just going to be a messy human and you're still God. So it's just, it's been like overwhelmingly amazing in this season, like just getting to watch the Lord do this and bless both of our families and our clients as well, and getting to like watch them live out their God-given mission has been so rewarding and exciting. So
So that's awesome. And I love the question that you asked the Lord. Questions are amazing because you can pose them to people, right? And questions are powerful. If you ask a powerful question, you get a powerful response. And you ask the Lord a really powerful question. What can I do? Like what have you given me that I can use right now? And it was both an act of surrender and also a I want I want to do something. I want to take part in this. I want to not sit here and let life happen to me. I want to actually take an active part of it. And I think when we realize that with God, it's always like a two-way it's a two-way street type thing. It's not just we hope and we pray, we do. And we also know that God is our business partner in whatever we're building in life. And it's really amazing when we actually invite him into those moments, because a lot of times he's just waiting for the invitation, and he's waiting for us to get to that point where we do ask the question that we need to be asking. And he's like, okay, here.
Yeah.
Doesn't really take a lot of prodding after that. He's always there waiting for us to come to him. So what have been some of the biggest, you've got called and launched here now. And let me tell you, when I started seeing the things on Facebook for called and launched, mainly from Allison, because she was my friend. I didn't know you, Cheryl.
Uh,
I was like, what is this? What is she doing? And I was so intrigued. And it really blew me away. I was very intrigued by what you were doing. I loved what you were putting out there. It looked very professional, very sleek, and just really well done. And so what have been some of like the biggest challenges that y'all have faced now that you've created this business together? What have been some of those hardships, those things that you were kind of not expecting?
yeah, for me, it actually I think the hardest part so far was the beginning of Called and Launched, in that, kind of like I alluded to earlier, I at this point have had my own business. I've got to I only had to think about myself in the business, if you will, my schedule, how many clients I wanted to take on or didn't. And so, when Allison first called for coffee, like honestly, it was, if I'm 100% honest, like there was a tinge of like, am I going to let my flesh win or like the spirit win? Because, essentially what she was saying is, I want to do what you're doing, and like I had to make a call, like I had to make right there a decision, like who am I going to be? Because it could have been that, and there was like a second, right, where it's like, wait, I don't want to have to compete against you. Like, and then I was like, I really just immediately, the Lord was like, no, go have coffee, like, see what this is. And so we sat down for coffee, and like we said, it was just very God ordained, but like hearing her heart and just hearing what she was wanting to do, I was like, okay, like we kind of chatted. I told her all about what I did from like start to finish. And at first it really was like, you know what? Like, I'll come alongside and help you figure this out. Like, someone helped me figure this out. And then, but then I ended up buying all these programs and courses, and that's how I really learned. But I was like, I can do this. I'll start. So that's how it started, is I would literally be like, okay, here's what I would do first. And I started with, honestly, it was going to start with her doing her own business and us doing things separately. And I sat down with my husband one night, and I was like, I don't know, John, like, I feel like the Lord is telling me, like, I need to just let her in on this and like do it together. And I was like, and I don't know if that's me or the Lord. Like, it just keeps being in the back of my head, because I was like, I don't even know how this could work. Like, I'm so busy.
Mhm.
Like, I really don't know. And so, but again, like the Lord just kind of kept like prompting it in my heart. So I honestly don't remember how long it had been when I called Allison. I was like, hey, like,
Mhm.
what would your thought be on us doing this together? And again, still thinking it was just going to be ads management. I knew that her heart was like creative. And I was like, you know what? You could do the creative side of ads management. I'll do more of the like back end of like the campaign strategy and things like that. And I think she was like, yes, and that's just literally how it went. But even then, like I could feel at times like a catch in my spirit, like, okay, Cheryl, like, but it's your business. Like, in fact, we actually sat down, the four, like Allison and I and our husbands, we sat down and we were like, okay, like we already do ministry together. Like, we don't want this to get like, we don't want blurred lines. We want to make sure that we're like overly communicating. And I remember telling her in that, I was like, hey, for 6 months, like, we're only going to focus on ads. We're not going to do anything else. Like, we're going to get really good at this. And that's really what I had in my mind. And again, like I could have really stuck to that, but all of a sudden I just watched Allison like shine with these like really artistic logo design and brand design. She actually, I clearly said 6 months, like we're gonna get good at this. And the Lord was like, no, Cheryl, like this girl has a gift.
Mhm.
Like you need to just open the doors and like see what happens. And like Allison mentioned earlier, ever since that door has been opened, like it's great. It is
And crazy.
crazy. What like and I think I get just as much joy out of seeing Allison use her gifts, and knowing like her backstory and like what God has called her to, as I do, even showing our clients, So, but yeah, that was definitely a challenge of just kind of me laying down what could have been my, um, I don't even know the right word, but laying down like the freedom of,
Mhm.
I'm doing this on my own. It's easy on my own. I don't have to think about anyone else, and so making that change to say no, like I am gonna just embrace what God's called me to, I feel like was just a really it was a sweet moment that I knew like, okay, this is the Lord working in me, and this is me saying no to my flesh, and like, and it's been a huge blessing. So,
I
Oh, that's made me cry. I'm sorry.
I wanna let Allison share it, but I wanna make an observation on what you shared is that you're in ministry, you're a pastor's wife, and you said you've acknowledged yourself. So I want people to hear this is that your flesh wanted to withhold
mhm.
information out of fear that you would have to compete.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to let that sink in because when you have created something, Cheryl and Co., you created Cheryl and Co., right? It was
Yeah.
what it
Hmm.
originally was.
Yes.
And you had this business, it was what you wanted, it was how it looked how you wanted, you had this flexibility. And then God brings someone in your life and says, okay, well, we're going to do something new.
Hmm.
And your flesh was like, no, 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 I'm happy, I'm comfortable.
Hmm.
And I also want to throw out there that the enemy was probably involved in that as well.
Yeah.
And knowing that you were proud of what you had created, you were happy and you felt like you were fulfilling what you were supposed to be doing, and everything was jiving the way you wanted. And I think to know that we put people on pedestals, especially people in ministry in the Christian communities. We think people who are pastors and pastors' wives, they have it all together. They know all the things, right? And they're somehow better than us, and they have it all together. And to have you acknowledge that that was something that you struggled with whenever God was saying, "I want you to do this," I think that's really important to stop and take in, because there is no one out there. The struggles are across the board for everybody. When you're business owners, when you're ministry leaders, when you're moms, when you're dads, when you're, you know, doing whatever the thing is that God has called you to do, it's we all struggle with the same things. They look different, they sound different, they feel different, but we're all on the same playing field. We all fight that sin nature, we all fight the flesh. We
Hmm.
all have the enemy whispering in our ear, you shouldn't do that because she's going to take everything away from you.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just the reality of what we all face and deal with. Do you
Hmm.
agree? Was that a good
Oh yeah.
suggestion?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I will say I am insanely grateful that my church, I always say, even if we didn't pastor there, we would choose to attend there. We love them so much. But they do such a good job about not putting like pastoral leadership on, this pedestal. And not to say that there aren't some complexities to being
Mhm.
the pastor and pastor's wife, or student pastor's wife. Like it I find it really refreshing when other people are transparent with me. And so that is one of my things as like a pastor's wife is I'm very transparent with anybody who talks to me about, nope, yep, all the struggles are there. There's no difference. Like it's, yeah, fighting the flesh and everything that anyone else goes through. So.
I love that. I love that. So, Allison, what has been, as you've moved into this, what has been one of your biggest challenges stepping into this role?
Yeah, so I was praying about that as Cheryl was talking, and it shifted on me, I think, in my heart. So I think I'm going to be transparent and vulnerable for a second too. Um, yeah, the hardest part for me was just the timing of I mean in my heart, like this was, like Cheryl, like really like sacrificially like allowing me into this, and I'm like very grateful, and it's played a big part of like really the rebuilding of confidence that the Lord has been doing in my heart and in my life. And so right around the same time that this started, I started EMDR, which is it is a trauma reprocessing, and started doing that with my therapist because I do have like a background of any type of abuse that you can think of. And so like, through Christ and him alone, like am a survivor of all of those things. And that's where my heart for, mental health ministry, the mental health ministry came from, is like I've watched what the Lord's done in my life, and I want others to get to experience what it's like when the Lord rebuilds your confidence, and you get to stand up and like know who you are in Christ, when used to you were like, you know, hunkered down in a corner and couldn't hold your head up. So yeah. this whole, like, just the timing of all of this while going through like EMDR reprocessing, I would say that's been the tough thing because it's kind of like opened up a lot of my like wounds and insecurities, right in the middle of it. But then, the other side of that is like it's been a really healing and sweet part for me as well. Because like again, those the love for art that I've had since like, I was in elementary school, like the Lord has He's allowed me to do that for a job, which is like insane. And I never would have thought, like, I would have told you a couple months ago, like, yeah, that was Allie in middle school, like that's not Allison anymore.
When we step into what God has planned for us, and a lot of times when we're in the thing that He's called us to, we can look back and see how He has really ordained a lot of stuff, even the bad stuff, because I believe, and I know that God redeems all of it. If you let Him, He'll redeem all of it.
Hmm.
And He leaves these monuments for us to see so that when we're in it and we're stepping into this new thing and it's maybe scary, it's maybe hard, it's challenging, he allows us to see all the ways that he led us up to that point so that
Hmm.
we can be confident in him, knowing he's already confirmed it, he's already validated it. We can trust that his timing is perfect because it is. And just like you've shared, his timing is impeccable. I actually shared today's episode that I released is about timing in a lot of ways and how his timing is so perfect and it never stops to amaze me. But what you share is so important is that we have to do that self work. A lot of
Hmm.
times, stepping into our calling forces us to do self work that we're not comfortable with, that we maybe didn't anticipate. But it's so necessary. It's not even like an extra add on thing. It's actually part of what we're supposed to be doing because I find that a lot of times what I share is the thing that I just went through.
Hmm.
And it becomes a big part of what I currently do in my ministry. So it's no, I totally hear what you're saying, and that's we all have things like that in our stories, that things that we have to work through, things that we have to deal with, that make us who we are, that make our art beautiful and meaningful and powerful. All right, so we've talked about the challenges. What have been some of the greatest joys that you've experienced in over the last couple of months as y'all have put Called and Launched together? I can't believe it's only been a couple of months. It's just astounding to me. So
Yeah,
that's
us
amazing.
too. Us too. We keep being like, how has this only been like 3 months? There's no way. Like,
That's
I feel like it's been
insane.
a lifetime.
That's
Yeah.
insane. Okay, so what have been some of the greatest joys?
Okay. So I actually put something on this paper, but I was like, as I was thinking about it, I was like, so it kind of started as almost a challenge and now is into a joy. But when Allison and I first started talking and we both we're both Enneagram 2s, so we're both like
Say that.
helpers. Oh, yay. Sorry, didn't mean to steal
It's
your thunder.
okay.
But yeah, we both love helping. We both love serving. And so we were like, how can we really help and serve
Mhm.
in what we're doing? Which, I mean, meta ads, like, yes, there's always like a service component to that, even when we started. But like, we really wanted it to be like, how can we involve ministry in this? Like, ministry is in both of our hearts. Like, what does that look like? And so, the whole called and launched, like just that name was born, which I don't know. A lot of people don't realize this, but so Cheryl Lynn Co. was obviously my first business. That's even still the website is Cheryl Lynn Co. But the logo is a C and an L for Cheryl Lynn. And that's where called and launched came in. So we were
Cool.
able to keep our logo, but like kind of change the whole, back story of it. And so one of the things that we really said is like we would love to serve like faith-based businesses. Like that would be the dream. And that was another challenge because again, up until that point, I just, kind of helped anyone and everyone. And I had not like narrowed in on like, okay, here's really the dream audience. I think I was fearful to do that, honestly. Like, oh no, I don't want to like limit what I can do. And so, but the more we prayed about it, we were like, no, faith-based businesses, like this is it. And so, like we really want to like have that be our target. And so that was our target. And I will say the biggest joy and the greatest joy is the people, like the clients that God has brought to us and their stories
Mhm.
and the way that they have found us is just wild. But I mean, we still have some clients that aren't faith-based businesses, and we still are like, this is our ministry to them.
Yep.
Like, this is our way to like share, share the Lord with them in whatever way we can.
Mhm. That is such a blessing to get to do, to be able to help others get their mission out to the world, the thing that the Lord has called them to do, and
Mhm.
just helping them. Like Cheryl is an expert strategist, like meta ads, absolutely her jam. Really like at anything and everything, and all the creative side too. Like she's good at all of it. But yeah, so like just knowing that like, Cheryl's going to be able to like get in there and she's going to be able to target the right audience and all of just like the science behind meta ads that are like really difficult to learn and knowing that like, and then like I'll get to like create, graphics that like paint the pretty picture so when people, people will click on it and it, it won't get like scrolled past like those types of things. Like you think about it and like it's easy with like all the clients to get kind of caught up and like be like, like yeah, we're just doing our job, but like what a blessing to get to be a part of other people's mission. And that has been such a blessing and so exciting to get to see and to just like see how like the missions that the Lord gives people are so unique to them.
It's really neat when you get to, like you said, be a part of something bigger than yourself, and you actually are able to see that, for instance, with your clients, that you realize that you're like a key component of the journey that they're on, that God has put them on, and that's a really special thing that that you do get to be part of that. And I love your teamwork and your camaraderie that y'all have for each other is just so wonderful. The mutual love and respect and admiration is just so tangible, and it's just so beautiful. I love this. I love this. What is the word that I'm looking for? I'm coming up with nothing but this.
I don't know, but I tell people that all the time because
Mhm.
people regularly ask, like, how's it going? I'm like, so good. Like, we are exactly, I think, who each other needs
Mhm.
in this business, like
Yeah.
a source of encouragement.
Mhm.
Um, Someone who will also say, like, hey, stop doing work, go hang out with your kid.
There you
Like trying to like hold up each other's boundaries, but also like loving what we do so much, but like encouraging through that. So
So I want to, I know we have to jump off very soon, so we have just a few minutes left. So I would like to pose actually two questions for each of you. Well, the second one can be for either of you, whoever wants to answer. But this first one is for the moms out there listening who are, saying that they maybe don't have the funds to afford the kind of services you're offering, or maybe they're out there thinking about starting a business or a ministry or a nonprofit or writing a book or whatever it is. What would you say to them if you could sit down in front of them with a cup of coffee right now and look them in the eye? What would you tell them? And then I would love for one of you to share what is potentially on the horizon for Called and Launch, what you hope to see maybe in the next by the end of this year or the next year. We would love to hear what's on the horizon for you guys. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Allison, do you want to take this first one?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that I would say, like I talked about earlier, like the way that the Lord like really started this in my heart. Ask yourself, what's the thing that you're good at? And then ask God, how do you want me to use this for your kingdom, for your glory, but also as a blessing to my family? And I think you kind of just start from there. Like, the thing for me was art, but like it developed into not like, a full-blown like marketing company. And he did it in just a couple short months. So I think just um, bringing your desires before the Lord, your desires for your family, like your desires for, like the debt that you need to pay off or like the specific thing, like for us it was like a stack of things and I was like, oh my goodness, Lord. And for a year before that I sat there and I prayed and we fasted and we cried out to God And in times in the past, like he did move without me having to do anything, like just miraculously just answer my prayers. And in this one, he was teaching me something different. And it was what you talked about earlier, that sometimes he needs us to move also. And so, that prayer to him was coupled with, I'm ready to work hard. Like I am ready to really grind in this season and work hard for my family. But again, it's all got to be you. Like you've got to open the doors, you've got to do all of it. Because everything that I have is yours. The gifts that you've given me, those are from you. Like this plan, like all of it is from the Lord. And so, yeah, I think just my encouragement is talk to him about it, but also be willing to move when it's time to move. And yeah, but ultimately just laying it before the Lord.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Mhm. Yeah,
Share.
absolutely. And I would say it sounds very coffee cup-ish. But it is true that I think for moms out there or people out there who are like, I can't do this. I don't have the skill for this, like what God's called you to, like he will equip you for. I know that that is a very um well known and well used, maybe phrase
True.
that much cuter probably than what I just said, but it is so true. Like if you would have told me I would have owned a marketing business, like I would have said, no, there's no way. Like
Mhm.
that's not what my degree is in. Like that's not what I studied to do. And yet we're doing it and like it's with such passion. And like again, like when people see what we're presenting to them, like just, I don't know. I don't even doubt, am I good at this? Like, I'm like, no, like God's called me to this and like I'm doing it and he's blessing it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then as far as what called and launched, like next steps, it's crazy that we're having this podcast um and the fact that like all this timing, but I actually had just talked to Allison. We met up. We sometimes like work when kids are playing in an area. So we get together, the kids run and play in this indoor play area. We sit there with our computers and work and talk to kids. And so Allison kind of asked me a question this week and I was like, I was thinking a lot about this and like I feel like what if we and interestingly enough, you even said for people who can't afford our services, we were like, what if we start doing some like website templates to where if people can't afford for us to, custom do their templates, like we can teach them, we can coach them how to use this. And so that's kind of what started out as like a really big funnel idea. And Allison was like, yes, I love it. Like we both kind of start, dreaming things. And then again, another very long voice text. Actually, this was short because I was literally running into the gym and I was like, Allison, I'm literally gonna be late, but what do you think about this? And so it's early and it's like part of me is like hesitant to throw it out there, but both of our husbands are in ministry. I grew up as a pastor's daughter. My dad's in
Yeah.
ministry. Allison's dad and father-in-law is in
Mhm.
ministry. My papa's in ministry, and actually just helped my dad's church run some ads for free for a vacation Bible school that they were doing. And while I was on their website, I was like, man, this website's really outdated. Like they could really use some help. But I know that they probably couldn't like. They may or may not be able to or want to get a custom made website. So I was like, what if we were to make like templates for churches, like to where if they don't have, the resources to hire someone to do this, but yet their website maybe was made a very long time ago or hasn't been updated, like we know, just based on our industry that like, 4 out of 5 people are going to go look at a website before they visit a church. And so it is important to, be relevant and make sure that you're presenting, yourself in a way that is welcoming and friendly. And so that's kind of what God has like put on our heart. It's like the earliest of phases. So part of me was like, I don't even know if I'll say that. Like, I don't know. But I'm like, no, like we're
Yeah.
putting it out there. Like God's kind of, put something in our heart and we'll just see what happens with it. So
That's so exciting. I love hearing these kinds of ideas and how y'all are just working and you're like, hey, I've got this idea. Oh, this is great. It's just the collaboration is just so fun. And it's so refreshing for me as well, because so much of what y'all have shared and your struggles and the things that you've learned and your joys and your hardships have resonated within me. Just knowing from my own perspective what I've dealt with is as I stepped into my calling, doing this show and building my own ministry, it's a lot of what you shared has resonated, and so I know that people listening, it's gonna ping with them as well. So I'm just so grateful. I'm so thankful that y'all decided to join me today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your thoughtfulness and everything that you've shared. I am going to make sure that I include all of y'all's social media links in the description. Y'all go check out Cheryl and Allison on Called and Launched, but Cheryl and Co. When you look for them, I'll share the website link so you don't get confused. And also follow them on Facebook, Instagram, all of the things. It's really lovely, the things that they're putting out. And if you have been looking for someone out there to help you with the marketing aspect of your business, these are the ladies that you want to go with right here. Thank y'all so much. If y'all have any prayer requests, any suggestions for future episodes, anything, if you would like to book me for a prayer Bible workshop or a speaking engagement, you can reach out to me at onecalledmama@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to me on YouTube as well. I'm also over there, so check me out. Thank y'all so much for joining me today, and I'll be seeing you again very soon.